is wrong.
Hello, Tradespotter. H, no H. You can choose. How are you doing? Welcome to the show. We're going to check out some trades today. Some that have large potential move to the top side, some that are already moving. Hit the like button. Jump into the charts. We've also got a couple of donations. Hands damp. Why did it not play here? It's one of those days, isn't it? Thank you for bearing with me. Jordan. 2 minutes ago. Hut O PBSB. Hutto Pidbizb. Thanks very much, Jordan. Print. And how do I print another yin? Who knows? Blue knows. And Hans says, Sir JME, could you look at targets on TELL, T-E-L-L, entry on the RO Flash at 1.18, confirmation of inverted shoulders, upside target. Another Mudda Fudda Flash, 1.67. Spectre Wolf, put it on Discord. Good shout. Spectre, good place to put it. Thanks, Hans, you betcha. We'll look at that in a moment. This is GREE, 27% there. So I put spot 066 at the high. So huge trade. This was yesterday's. Gave this yesterday from the move from the low to the high at 70% so far. And you know, you could put 60, what was it, 50, 40% today. Fantastic. Solo currently at 20%. There's that trade. It was fantastic yesterday. Just on this 4 hours here, you got 28% at the high there. 888, there was the divergence on this guy on the low, another entry there. Ludes mini. Any, we talked about it, obviously, with the rest of the Bitcoin miners. Could stretch it out probably 15 minutes. So you made it to the target. Great. Canva, we said at the start of the week. Carvana and Bed Bath & Beyond, right? Eventually, finally, time for them to make a bit of a move. Remember, I said bit of a move and you said great, and I said not that great. It was Monday's show. Here's the best side of that then, 6.44% today. There's the rest of that entry. AMC, spoke about it in around 550. Boom, it was there when I opened the chart. It was at 550 and it was there when I glanced again. Killing it. TDUP, another 5%. And this thing, the way it's working out here is giving me the heebie-jeebies when it follows my squiggly, messy lines. Right, they're not even horizontal hard control or Alt-H or whatever it is, depending on your operating system. Right, they're just squiggles, and it still does it. Rocket, another big chunk. That's this trade playing out again. Oh my goodness gracious me, 4 hour probably easier to see it, even though, you know, boom. And then Bed Bath & Beyond, like we said, we're at the vertical now. The vertical, the control or alt vertical, and price action making its way back to flash, 236, that sort of area. Getting 5% on that as well today. Bitcoin, I mean, you watched yesterday's show, which is the poll at the top of the chat box. Did you watch yesterday's show? And if so, how much do you think it would be worth in terms of a dollar value? Sort of dealio with the old questions. I put multiple choice deals. You can let me know. So there's loads of things. I mean, even this, right? Even this. Look what it's going to do. That's the 4 hour. If you look at it on, say, the 1 hour topside 200 period moving average, even in this trend, like that's enough. 30 minutes, even on the 15 minutes, like there's the top side of that flash, right? And the downside slope track, so you don't even need to break the trend to even keep with the trend. You probably get that one. So you know, and then if it did evolve, you've obviously positioned well for this trade. Stop following the. It's super easy, right? It's just loads and loads of money. And then there's another one, right? Loads and loads of money. I mean, what do you want me to say? There's loads and loads of money. There's more Bitcoin money. We said space, right? Basis line in that, probably a bounce. There you go. I mean, that thing's going bankrupt. We're still getting percentage points out of that, right? GameStop, 22.80. What was the high? 23.17. We said that you're targeting around these areas. 15-minute time frame. There's a rocket Outcrop Flash. Does all the work for you. 22.57. And thus price action floating along a Tradespotting line. This is brilliant, right? So what was it people asked about? What was it you were looking for yourself there, Jordan? Hut to BTSB. Hut, Pizza Hut. No, Hut Mining Corp. That's who we're looking at then. What are we talking about? PBSB. PBSB. What does that mean? Boom. Keep the chat box up so I can see what you guys are up to. I can do beans now. Homer, hello. Bah humbug. Nice. Goddamn Wi-Fi is so slow here, barely able to watch stream. Hans! Well, later on it'll be there ready for you all to watch back. Perfect. Hey, you can probably download it too. I'll leave that as an option so people can if you want to. For exactly that situation. They're just squiggles. Said nobody doing TA ever. Hut. Yeah, hut. 2.03. Hut. 200 period moving average. You're above the 200 period moving average. Hut. You're looking at an inverted head and shoulders. It would have to be at the end of a trend. That's not really... This is like a... I mean, sure, right? But you're looking at the previous highs within the formation. It's not really an inverted head and shoulders. It's just, yeah, there is resistance there. I hate those cough, sneeze things. Scam. Everything's a scam nowadays. So what we're looking at here is this thing a scam. No, it's a mining company, right? So they dig stuff out the ground. It's real for real. No, they aren't. They're a technology company. Yep, it's a scam. What are they doing? Hut and Mining Corp. Oh, it's the mining and cryptocurrency. Okay, so it's like maybe okay. Cryptocurrency mining and blockchain infrastructure company, which is focused solely on mining Bitcoin. Well, that's pretty good because BTC, thanks very much, .D. You know, it's been moving to the top side, right? The Bitcoin dominance, top side of this channel, whoop-de-doop-de, right? So alts are primed now for a breakout, which is great, or else Bitcoin's going to make a massive retracement. And in either case, it was very much to that company's interest to be mining Bitcoin recently rather than any of the alts, because there's very few of them are even turning a profit for miners because of the change to the Ethereum blockchain. And so now the way that people are subsidized for providing on-chain validation is reaching parity across all these different chains. It's mostly due to the demand and supply, and that parity is now dictating profits for miners, which is got nothing to do with the way Bitcoin works. So they're definitely very, very positive. The fact that, you know, chip companies are still going up, graphic cards and whatnot, you know, how they do the processing here, that they're still going up is partly due to AI, but that's all resting on NVIDIA's chips doing the grunt work. But the truth is, it ain't all about NVIDIA. The Google parent company, Alphabet, their new chips, they outperform like 1.5 to 1.7 times better. So, yes, so long story short, they're very much wise to be mining Bitcoin and now else. So 4-hour time frame, things have reached topside above the 200 period moving average, but there's a flashback there at 47.36. Pardon me for 2 seconds. It was a merry old time. It was a grand old time. So we're back looking at this, and why are we looking at this? I was probably making a point about them guys. Hut. What was the question? Well, they're listed all over the shop. Yeah, so 4-hour time frame, not yet an uptrend. Looking at this, I can imagine. Ha! Look how lovely that looks. So you're looking at this 236 holding, very, very good. Testing that 382. Needs to break it. That's in at around 2.55. Break 255, that'd be good for a thing. Until such times as it does that, it's still in a downtrend, and even then, you know, you really want to see it back above 365. That's only a 50% retracement, and so I wouldn't even be looking at this with a bullish inclination until such times as if it exceeds this high, which should be an important high in the preceding trend, and then also makes it back away above the golden pocket, because, you know, and then even then I'd be looking for it to find support before it goes to the top side, unless, of course, Bitcoin explodes even more. In case if it does do that sort of thing, then you'd be looking at the flash target. Obviously that's on the way at 498, $5. Ooh, 100% on that thing. So if Bitcoin moves up, you've got 100% on the miners. Will they move further than Bitcoin itself? Well, I'm sort of banking on it, so I hope so. Monthly, then just still make it all right. Puts on the llama, calls on the BBBY. Well, that was Hey, it's getting cancelled, isn't it? Getting cancelled pretty quick. Isn't it? Hey. I mean, do you want to talk about that sort of stuff? We could definitely talk about it. I would say, just off the, like, straight off the bat, I would say, sheesh. I was surprised. And also, I will withhold judgment other than to say some stuff is not cool at all. Crazy to think about all of that learning that the next 19 months will bring. Yeah. 19 months? 19 months. Oh my God, 19 months! Spider Monkey too. Thank you for being full generous. Guitar Outside. On the shoulders of giants, thanks to Tradespotting and Rocky Outcrop. Thanks very much, Guitar Outside. Did you watch yesterday's show, everybody? What's my question? Answer my question in the chat box. Did you watch yesterday's show? Just let me know in the chat box. There's no problem. If you didn't, you won't get in trouble. So this thing, yes, you're looking for it to hold 165. You're targeting up at around $5. That'd be pretty good stuff if it did that. Pretty good stuff. If not, it was 7.76%, 8%. Oh, look at that. Woohoo. Wants to move. I don't particularly care about the gaps below. Yeah, does this thing come back down again? You know, Bitcoin moves up and down, so it does. We'll get used to that eventually. Sorry, I said 19 months. Thanks so much. And then tell. Do tell. Oh, good move. It's at the flash target there on the 4 hour, 1 spot 68. It's not quite, but it's very close. High of the day, 1 spot 65. But you've reached these horizontal levels, so the risk is on again. The target on the 2 hour exceeded the 200 period moving average. Test those horizontals are significant. They're all significant. They're 1 hour holding this move. If you break out any further, it'll start being next exponential breakaway. That'd be a lot to ask for, to be 100% honest with you. What's this 4 hour trend look like? It's yet to test the top side of this thing, so you know, let's just take it from here. It's got a couple of different moves. So you're not yet to. You've tasted it already. Oh, damn, I've got a bottom bit to do. I always think my job's done and I'm only halfway there already. Isn't that always the way of it? Ah, finally, I can put my feet up. No! Right, so there's the downward sloping channel. That being oscillation towards the top side. The risk is very much on, looking to move back from here on the 4 hour, where you've got continuation divergence. It's in a downtrend. You've reached your target. 200 period moving average is above you. Sure, you could look at it as a target, and fair enough, you might go there. You could even put in a divergent high on your momentum indicator along the way, but it doesn't look like it's poised for a breakout. Should it do so, that 200 period moving average in the 4 hour acting as support, that might be a good entry, because then you'd also have a really close area to manage your risk at. Because you're looking left, this area would be support if price action broke through it. It was and is currently operating as resistance, along with the downward sloping diagonal, along with the 200 period moving average, and the fact that you've made it to horizontal levels of resistance, and the flash target, more or less, that trade was from a very lower, much lower area to take the most of it. So you could easily cover it off and price action move down or not quite fill it, come back again. And that would be interesting if you did start putting in lower lows, because you've not had proper bullish reversal divergence on the daily time frame, despite the fact that it's been in a downtrend and in multiple lower touches. So perhaps it does need to do it one more time, come down, test these lows in at around 0.68, and then we'll see if you get a really good move until. But I don't look like that's happening from here, and I do like a lot of chocolate on my biscuit. Thanks so much, Hans Damps, and I can talk about it some more in writing if you'd prefer on Discord later. Inverted head and shoulders, I'm not seeing that, man. I'm not seeing that, unless this is what you're talking about, in which case your neckline was the basis line of the channel, and the measured move took you to where it's already at. Okay, so this has already happened. That trade you're talking about, it's this thing. Look, there it is. And look, you know, you're going to see what's going to happen there. You take it across to that, and it's like there. So support on the shoulder, resistance. Yeah, sure, inverted head and shoulders coming at the bottom of a trend, but there's continuation divergence. Hell, the center line is in the bullish control zone. I'm not going to argue with it, but I'm also not interested in trading it from here, because like I say, chocolate on biscuit. Get that ratio right. Okay? If you like a lot of chocolate on your biscuit, join Tradespotting, hit the like button, hit the join button thereafter, then go to Rocky Outcrop's Discord, join that, join the Patreon upgrade, take the course. You'll be rich, we'll all be rich together, because I'm going to need you to buy me an apparel. I've got my own bills here running the show already. Isn't that investing in you? You invest in me. The apparel, it's not a joke. Only time will tell anyway. Yes, so we had that question and answer session there earlier. Did you watch the show yesterday? Thanks very much. So everybody, I want you to put in the chat box a dollar value that you think the show is worth. Now, don't do it on like anybody else's standard of measurement. You can use whatever factors you want. I just want to see numbers in the chat box. You can even use negative numbers because while we're a great discovery and greatly aided our understanding of other concepts. So if you feel like using negative numbers, feel free. I do like more chocolate on biscuit. Yes, exactly, right? It's a scam otherwise. Those packed with biscuits. And what in those biscuits, right? Baking soda. No, I didn't come here to buy baking soda, but that's the scam because digestive biscuits, another great invention invented here in Scotland, they were invented by a pharmacist. She was aware of the fact that she could aid people's digestion with baking soda, and so she crammed an awful lot of it into these digestive biscuits, those OT biscuits. Coming from that lovely porridge, the land of Scotland. And didn't that help people? Yes, because they were then able to eat biscuits and go to do the toilet, which was really good for them, especially in that particular era, because they didn't just eat those biscuits, they also ate other things bad for them. So that was great, that invention. Now, Scotland's always bringing these things to the world. Incredible, isn't it, really? Porridge and everything we do for you guys. You being the rest of the world. It's crazy how time flew. Feel like being watching you the last 2+ years. Jordan, not 45. Yes. Hello. That's that multiple Jordans. A pair of Jordans. That's quite an aspirational thing, you know, in certain parts of the world. Having a pair of Jordans, you've made it, right? So that's kind of where I'm at the minute. You know, I'm really starting to feel like I've made it. Some people, when they get their first pair of Jordans, they like to go to sleep next to that pair of Jordans, you know, those Jordans, let's say, put them there and then fall asleep looking, and then wake up looking at them. It's a magical experience. It really gets them into the whole concept of materialism. And like the sooner you can push a pair of Jordans on most people, the sooner you'll get a productive society going. And, you know, and that's the key to most games, most civilization games. The bastards up there have been playing with us like little ants, so we are. Anyway, you don't want to be an ant. Get out of the way, Steam Rack rolling price action like that thing. So what was the next shout out was... I mean, what? Hey, look, thread up. Look, there's trades within trades on this thing. That's not just that. Here, what else is going down, right? I'll tell you what else is going down. And within 400 years, the seas will boil. Okay, that's a fact because of all the waste heat from your central heating system and other people's. So you get carbon capture and all the rest of it. Yeah, wonderful, whoop-de-doop-de. It doesn't matter. There's infinite number of problems. We can't solve them. It's too late. The polar bears are screwed. This is the answer. Tradespotting's philosophy is the only way to save humankind. My way or you're all screwed. It's the only option. You're going to have to compartmentalize and assess the only things that are possible to save. And it's very little, much less than we'd like. We can't save everything. It's far too late. Don't be ridiculous. We're going to have to start cutting off the things we can't afford anymore. Polar bears are right up there. The ice caps, screwed. We are too late, right? If you want them, you can't have them. Far too late anyway. You can't afford them. And what else? Coastlines, you can't afford them, right? If you wanted them, you'd have done something about it earlier. It's far too late. You can't afford them. You're not having them anymore. Don't worry, this show will end on a positive note. Penguins, no, you can't have penguins. Don't be ridiculous. They can only exist on a disproportionately large landmass that's not justified when you're going to lose species at the rate we are, right? So no penguins, sorry. I mean, face it, right? Most of America live in houses made out of wood, right? Out of wood. No joke, man. The rest of the world's like, well, no, houses as stones, yeah, for hundreds of years. No, yeah, but in America, you're making them out of wood, right? So we know that you can't have everything you want, Americans especially. And because they want a lot. And so we have to make sure that we can get those things that we can, right? That's what was it, not just within our purview, because like those are things that quite commonly and most likely we will lose, but those things that we most desperately need. And we have to be very, 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 very strict with ourselves and narrow that down. And let's be honest, if you're on the left, how high do you rate, right? Let's make lists, right? Because, you know, later on, if you're on the right, you can get people to replace these lists, right? And do all the things on these lists. And you can have them stand in front of you eventually because you get really rich, because that's what everyone on the right does do. And you'll get really, really rich being on the right because, you know, you're a mercantilist, capitalist, you think capitalism regulates itself, and everybody's an extreme version of something. Don't kid yourself that you're a moderate or in the middle. Everybody judges you massively extreme before you open your mouth, right? So if you're on the right, you're going to be really rich, and you can get people to stand there and be your lists and do the shit that you would otherwise be writing down. If you're on the left, you'll have to stick with the list for a while, right? But don't worry, because there's apps for that, and the tech firms are right there on your site. So they'll be making. Don't be unsubscribing. Hit the like button, and so you're delighted, right, with the list, and you can put on the list loads of different shit. And I want to know where polar bears are on that top 10. Are they even in the top 10? And where are the penguins in relation to the polar bears? And do you want both the polar bears and the penguins? And if such, what are you giving up? Because you can't be greedy, because then you're going to have to join the people on the right and be rich, and you won't be allowed that list anymore. And I know how much that list means to you. So hit that like button. Right, so back to the charts, which is, oh my goodness gracious me, this is squiggles. The squiggles, so the dot, right, altcoins. So if they're going up because Bitcoin isn't collapsing, which would be the Bitcoin dominance chart coming down, Bitcoin going itself sideways or to the top side, would mean that everything else is proportionately catching up. Catching up would be very much what's going on, because this is a downtrend that hasn't yet been exceeded yet. And where would that come in at? Well, you'd be breaking in at around 7.6, 7.5 on dot. And then I suppose we could look up all the other alts and be like, oh my goodness, look at all the crazy value coming this way. Boom, boom, boom. SOLUSDT, it's pushed its way to that resistance level already. And it's just 1618, so that trade's exceeded. You know, it could go back there, but it's already happened. And then Kava, right, DeFi, if it breaks up, you'll get an inordinately large move in this thing, right? Another 40% possibly. Already talked about XMR, right? This loves to move when Bitcoin does. You get this, right? So this thing, so loads of different things that happen with this, right? So weekly time frame, 167 is where I typically like this thing. There's a flash at around 186. So I mean, I suppose I could target that from here, depending on what's this guy saying. This is all my camouflaged. Oh my goodness. I'll have to look at that myself later. So, you know, Discord or whatever. ADA, up at 0.7, that's already, I'll go, whoa, that's a huge move on the alts if they do break to the top side. My goodness gracious me, I'm already in this one, so I can get excited a bit. Yeah, woo! So that up there, right, back to the chat box to clean my palette now. Yo! Only time will tell anyway. Jeez, it was only a minute ago that Jordan said, it's crazy how fast time flew. And I was talking about a pair of Jordans. And then all that amazing chat. And then we've only had these many messages. Okay, right. So the reasoning for the question at the top of the chat box, because I had a meeting with the YouTube partner manager, and he was like, you know, Tradespotting. He didn't say it like this, but he was like, you know, Tradespotting, and he did point out that for this YouTube channel, I earn less than the average YouTuber, and so they've got these indicators, and they say like, you know, if you do these things, you could earn way more, and your channel can get bigger, and you can grow in that. So do these things. So he's been talking to me and helping me for the best part of 2 months, and I've done all those things, and it's been going the other direction. So we discussed today what that meant, and how long there would be left then if that was a trend, and it wasn't very long. So hit the like button, give it all your watch time. I'll get more than yesterday's video got 38 impressions. It got 3 times as many views as impressions, and 2/3 of them came from Discord. You know what I mean? It's very difficult to grow. Growth strategies around here are very tough. Can we refresh and look at BNED? BNED, yo moon man, BNED. BNED, downward sloping channel. Price action is in it there on a weekly. Well, I mean, sure, on a weekly. Daily time frame, nice move to the top side of this thing. Nice move to the top side so far. You're at an important horizontal level there. You see where these things peaked. That was part of the downtrend, and in advance of that, it was support. What am I missing here? I should have taken the first one off. Now these are attached to each other forever and ever. Jordan, guitar outside, Moon Man. Thanks. Restrictions unclear. Put dollar value in Streamlabs instead. Thank you so much, Guitar Outside. You're very generous. Guitar Outside's top of the leaderboard. If you go to the Streamlabs page, you can see that there. Moonman, $10. Can we refresh? Look at BNED. Yes, you betcha, buddy. Right. And there, and we're on the daily time frame. You've managed to make it out of the bearish control zone. You've not managed to exceed the central line RSI. You do not have continuation divergence to the downside, and you do have a formation and this parallel downward sloping channel that suggests that you could go on further to 1.69. On the 4-hour time frame, you do have that question about divergence. You've got slightly higher closes, so I I wouldn't worry too much. You're also above the center line RSI, so that's positive, and you had retested the basis line of this channel. So of those things you would look for, you have a number of them. Where did this measured move come from? As if this was a potential bull flag. Okay. And then if it was a bull flag, did we hold the 236? If we take it from the wick, suppose we take it to the, that'll do. We take it here, you held 236 on the closes. So high and tight, you can possibly get the best bull flag. And if you are looking for a trade that breaks out back above this top formation, then it might be that you're looking for that measured move subsequent to a break here at 1.60. So your first target is 169. That's where you meet the downward sloping resistance. Beyond that, you're asking an awful lot of this because it's been in an awful long downturn since the start of mid-February, Valentine's Day. Shout out all you people in relationships. Eh? Cheers to them. Congratulations, like the ones that started then and whatnot. I mean, the ones beforehand, like, you don't get congratulations, what you like. So yeah, you know them ones if you still made it and whatnot. So congrats anyway. Bleh. So you're looking at this in this channel, in this downward sloping channel, like, yeah, you break out to the top side, you're looking for some sort of measured move, and that's probably a little bit more realistic than looking for the whole breadth of the thing. Like, you got a wick up there and it went to horizontal level, and you probably go horizontal levels, and none of them even are the same. Like, the first one you're looking at is in at around 187. And then you've got an awful lot of horizontals that are important because I've drawn them, and there's a 200 period moving average comes in at $2. So, you know, if you did exceed this, that's where you're looking to, but this is 192 and 186 in advance of it, and then, you know, downward sloping resistance, fake out areas on this thing, probably back above 174 if that's what the 4 hour looks like. 1 hour time frame. I mean, if we're like adding in everything I've been saying before, really, it's not going down to the 1 hour. It's back up to the daily and talking about this as being a broadening right angled formation. And if you do manage to hold the basis line here, which would be a recovery of a 50% in at around $2.20, $2 to 220. If you did manage to recover that, which is the target off the back of this guy, 192, and then the extensions, which I haven't drawn because whatever, right? But when you get there, it's what it is. 190, $2, 220. If it manages to break above there, you could potentially be going back to test the horizontal resistance back up at 330, which would be fantastic and would suggest that potentially with this formation's breakout and how price action evolves from it, right? Now I'm going to do another one of these things. So if it does, price action does this, right? I won't get taken away because I've said I'll get taken away if this happens a number of times now, and people don't turn up and take you away when you really would watch the movies you'd think they would like. So, you know, if this does do something like that, right? Anyway, right, I'm just getting silly now because I don't want price action to catch up with me. But what might I actually do, right? So it would just go up here, it would break to the resistance and then go back up again. That's the target, right? And you start getting back above there, all sorts of crazy things could happen. I imagine it goes sideways for a little bit because the big congestion, a little bit of hesitation would be normal at a previous level of resistance, which is what it is here. So you get to that area, and then there's a bit of a sideways price action likely because this is a bit of a liquidity gap and then an awful lot of levels of resistance. And this is the important distinction point within this downward sloping channel where you very much confirmed a downtrend with rocky outcrop heartbeat pattern there, and then you've got displacement when you fell back into the formation, right? So brutal. And then you had this downward sloping, here, that's where that measured move came from. It wasn't even the potential bull flag, which turned out to be high and tight and suggested that you could get continuation to break out to the top side. That was just from the distinction that was similar to this large version, right? You see, you got the windmill within a windmill, right? So anyway, you had a similar situation here. This is the moves that you'd be looking at. That takes you to the top side of this formation here. We're probably looking for something even more reserved then. I was managing your expectations, helping you adjust against your own bias. Likely, maybe I should just not intervene because, you know, you can never guarantee you're not doing any harm. And that's just the way of it being a YouTuber, though. I suppose that answers a lot of things about what's going on here. Anyway, if you get my sense of humor, you get my point. I rely on you getting my point, otherwise you're lost. You're lost. You're like everybody else out in the world trading, you lost. That's also true, right? There's a lot of different people who do this sort of thing on YouTube. Big shout out and respect to them because it's not easy. But the vast majority of them have got no idea why it is the things they're doing make sense, if they even know that they do make sense. And you'll know that when you listen to them. And so, yes, they don't know on whose behest they're acting, whereas I do. And I'm going to screw the bastards, so you should definitely be on this channel. And a price action, if it does do this sort of thing, right, you know, whatever, it probably will. You'll be looking at resistance at 220. If it breaks out, you'll be looking at that prior high as being somewhere we go to very, very quickly. There's the body close at 230. That'll be relevant. And then the wick is also the previous high at 250. And if that breaks, like I say, you're back into something that's probably best looked at on the 2-day with extra indicators. This broadened information, 300% target, golden pocket, 1618, loads and loads and loads of confluence there. And then where was we saw that flash? Was it the 4 hour? You've got a flash. It's also there at 5 spot change size, 5 spot something like 5 spot, you're rich already sort of levels. Yo Ray, yo Mass, yo Koki, yo Luke. Never going back, motherfuckers. Love you, Dope Slayers. Always in your corner, GME and Rocky. Thank you all. Well, we are freaking lucky. Love you, Ray, man. You're such a fucking gentleman and total legend, man. Thanks. How's everybody? 22 months. That's a record. Can we refresh? Look at BNED. We did already, for goodness sakes. And I read out and everything. So that was darn good. Oh my goodness. Solo went nuts today. You're telling me it did. Solo went nutty. Nutty. Oop. There. It kept going. What? 20%. So what did we get off this in the totality then? Obviously, everybody's looking at different, isn't it, right? It's Millionaire Maker traded shares alone. That was 43% of the wick. It closed 38% so far of that. And then you got these 3 targets. Yeah, 3 targets is never enough. Where's the next one spot? Right, well, it's the downward slope formation. You slipped out of that, you're back in it. We're talking about the concept of the displacement. You managed to break back above the basis line here. That also comes in with the test of the previous horizontal level at 0.69. If you do get there, it wouldn't be a surprise. And if you did exceed it, it'd be the 200 period moving average along with 0.79, 8068. It's 0.839. So you're testing the 200, and then you've got the downward slope information on that channel, 4 hour daily, 3-day, 5-day. It's all over the shop. It's all over the shop. And if you did manage to get back up, 5-day flash at 2.69, 200 period moving average, 1618 extensions, not yet. You know, it might be that it goes through a couple of oscillations so that you've got extra confluence with your fizz before such times as you're able to judge the timing of that move. My God, this show is so much more valuable than yesterday's, and yesterday's was worth millions. What did the poll say? If you were able and all else equal, what value is each Tradespotting show worth to you personally? 0, 13%. Well, if it's not worth anything to you, you're not worth anything to me. And each of us, you yourself, which you've expressed clearly with your frankness in that poll, and I will hope you'll allow me, will express clearly now, we're worth nothing to each other. You're worth nothing to me. I'm worth nothing to you. I improve your average. You bring down my average. Leave. You're not welcome. Don't come back. Take yourself, your future, and everything to do with you and go away. Just go away and watch some other YouTuber who gets by on advertising revenue, which is only possible if you chase the trends, which in which case you're probably chasing the trades, and you can chase your future and all your trading money down the drain with them, you cheapskate. Sitting here taking the value I put out without contributing back, expecting to get away with that, that's rude, and you're not welcome. You bring everybody down, you stink the place out, you're not fucking welcome, right? Go away. 13% he is. Fucking everybody else, there's 13% of people hit that button. Koki, 1999, for all your amazing work on GameStop, but more so for the lessons. Cheers, Koki, legend. You're totally legend. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, so 25% of people thought $5 to $20. And if I was getting $5 to $20 from 25% of people who watched every show, then bloody hell, you'd never hear me raise my voice. I'd be happy as could be, and this show would be doing fantastic. It still is doing fantastic, despite a quarter of people here thought it was worth $20 or more, and nearly 40% of people voted a lot more, which is brilliant. Thanks, I appreciate it. And they took that option to mean people can't necessarily afford to pay more, you know, and if they were able to give a lot, because some of the people around here are the exact opposite of that 13%, which is now 12. Screw them. 40% is. You know, thanks so much. so much. And because of you, I've been able to do an experiment and do new things, as I was talking about with Kitties and others in the chat box as we started. Because I've got such a core group of people who support me and who I appreciate as much as you appreciate me, the respect goes both ways. You give me the flexibility to maybe try something new, to try and grow the channel and reach new people. Less of those 13% and more like you, the 40%. And I think I'll find you from going back to doing some of the things we've done before, but with a new slant on them. And then by that, I don't mean huddled tickers. I mean more creative, interesting things that can enjoy the interactions we all have more frequently. Once I get my portfolio sizes up, it's going to get brazy in here. Thanks, Jamie. We all love you dearly, and I love you too, Prez. Right, so what else? End that poll, boom, the 40%ers, you have it. That a lot more have it. Well, hey, well, I'm with you. It's bing bong, big buckets. The double alliteration, eliciting such positive feelings among us all, innit? The language, the articulation, doing something a little bit different. Right, so not from the everyday, I mean from the everyone else. What are we looking at here? Crypto total, why? What else was I looking at? SPY, everybody loves a little bit of SPY, especially when it's doing what Spot likes. So you got that information, you broke to the top side, we're looking at in a 15 minute or something like it. Even there it looks. How neat is that? That looks like one of those Pez dispenser things. Tradespotting and Rocky Outcrop, thanks for all you do. Q. Here's Tina. Who is Tina? Who is she? Who is she? Who is she? Triple Qs. Did they do all that much? Nor are they putting in exactly the same information. I suppose they are breaking to the upside. Oh, look, we've got this funny guy. Who's Tina? Who's Tina? Who's Tina? Talk to the printer like it's a good boy. Tradespotting, CPI is tomorrow morning. It looks like it leaked before close. Oh my goodness. Right, what is it? Why are you holding out on me? Is this some sort of thirst trap for CPI data here? What is it, Mass? Lead with the news, Mass. Emphatically, in fact. Scream at me. Tina! Oh, Tina, we've got to get in looking more at this while we wait for the news from Mass. Mass is going to bring us tomorrow's news today. All the news ahead of the moves, even from the chat box here. Right, this is brilliant. It's getting better and better. So there's a flashback at 297. That'd be taking it below 300, 20 off. But you're trying to the upside at the minute. You don't have bearish divergence on the most recent peak. This is 4 hour time frame only. I've lost your own moving average. But then you've got bullish divergence between these two lows. If it's continuation divergence, you're talking about an uptrend, which at this stage of the game you probably are. You had your breakout, you had your retest, that was confluent with the 200 period moving average in the 4 hour, and you moved to the next resistant level at 322. That was the important level. Did you close this tiny little gap? Debatable. Close enough is near enough. Possibly you did. I'm saving up for your watch. You probably are, but you're also taking care of yourself. This is the chat. You don't need to worry about that. You know, yeah, you do, but you don't need to worry about that personally. It's not all on you. You can't be all on you. For goodness sakes, you don't need to worry about it. That's not the right way of describing it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That sort of way. Sugar. Bless your heart, Prez. Yeah, bless her. Did you see her egg? You did Rocky share them on his community. When's this poll happening? I'm saving up. Yay. Geez. The Philippe Petit. Jesus, right, innit? Ooh, some new models. Ooh, suits you, sir. Right, so 4 hour time frame. I mean, I'm not arguing with this thing. There isn't bearish divergence on this peak, but the very certainly very much is between these two dudes, you know, but then trends changing, so what would you expect? You would expect one more maybe before such times as you thought about actually reversing in price, which would probably come up around here in another price. Peak, test that, and you might no longer be divergent, right? Because the RSI, if it goes back up, exceeds this previous high, price action goes up, exceeds this guy, that'll be where it goes. It goes to 340 next. That's what you're looking for, probably. Triple Q's topside target is 340, but that would be why it would happen. And an oscillation that took you there could also encompass that low, because, you know, this guy, if it came down, found support, and we did another one of these just because it's easy. You haven't actually got it yet. But like that would make sense, you know. In retrospect, we would all look at that and say, "Ah, God, that shit! I should have seen it coming, sir." Look at the basis line. That suggests price action will be at the basis line, not the top side of this channel, which of course has got one touch. It's not real yet. I mean, we can make it look real. There, I mean, that is real now. It's got 2 on the bottom. You expect a third one for confirmation, at which point you'd be looking for those moves to 340. So maybe you're targeting this 4-hour daily 4-hour 304, 292, you know, that sort of area. No, not 293, $300 to 236. This guy needs updated. 306. This port and body close in at 306. Close that gap. Test this area. Fake everybody out who thinks it's coming back down to the 292, 291 area. It could even wick down to 297 and test the 382. Catch the low side of this formation. And if it is breaking below the 236, right, which would be that gap fill there, see I'm going through it and I'm coming from the 236 and going across. That wouldn't be testing the lower side of this channel unless such times as we were talking about lows of sideways price action. This thing's just been rejected from the bullish control zone, where between its 2 previous peaks you've got bearish divergence. So a retest in search of support is likely, and the first place you'd find that wouldn't be at this level here. That'd be mid by every definition. It's down here, testing the bottom side of that channel, where it bounces and then tests the basis line, and you've already had 3 touches in the top side, so you're asking for more than that from here. It's 340 is the target to the top side. Any more than that's greedy. You probably got into this before, in which case you'd be laughing back up there. If this thing does break down, it's all about breaking 286. So that flash at 292, 297, 200 period moving average could be inflection point. If price action is to fail here and not go on to test the basis line, or alternatively go on to that basis line and then fail at this area, then you'd see a test of the 200 period moving average, currently at 291, probably in at around 292, 297, depending on how long it takes. And if that breaks, you'd be looking at horizontal at 286, golden pocket retracement filling at horizontal level. It's important at 280, and if that breaks, right, you're probably going to actually end up coming all the way back down to 1618 extension, because it's supposed to be a bullish move, yo. We'll try to get back up, test this important horizontal at 370, yo, which I'm not going to talk about from here because people will go crazy trading it. And you need to manage your trades. You need to take profit somewhere, for goodness sake, especially if you're entered this already. This thing could break down and retest this formation. If it does, it's not actually a channel. The thing below it's a broadened wedge. If you slip back into that, displacement's horrible. 1618 is hopeful. You could go down to 180. Oh my goodness. And that's all actually what you would probably get from like a complementary analysis on SPY at the same time. But like that was well darn good too. And thanks very much, Tina. Appreciate it. Triple Q's there. Best triple Q TA you'll see today, especially in the last 20 minutes or so. Especially if you've been watching this show for the last half hour. Innit? Hit that like button. Looking for the midline on that trend channel, innit? 50 in numbers and whatnot, hiding in the basis line. You'll never find me. You're welcome, Ustina. I can listen now and watch later. Gotta go feed the animal and myself. Thanks very much, KT. Great to see you. Death of Banana Frige. Frige, yeah, so SPY, that'll be like SPY. You'll be talking about that coming from SPY, innit? You talk about it, well, it's holding 409, that's good. I mean, it's not fantastic, in fact. What people will be asking themselves is like, I'm not already in a trade, how do I get into one? And that's okay. That's okay to ask that question. The best tool in your toolbox, and you've got it right now, is patience. And the more of that you can maintain, the better, and you'll get a better trade. You know, if you're talking about how many trades can I enter in the next year, well, infinite if you just start clickily clicking the button all the time, right? You know, and then, you know, then eventually you might get back to your original question you pointed at the first, like, when can I take this trade? It's like, well, whenever the trade says it's all right already, you know what I mean? And then it's like, you've used all 3 questions, so you'll have to donate if you want any more. That chart looks like a Picasso. It does, doesn't it? It's SPY. Well, it's good, isn't it? This is pretty good. If you don't got access to this via Patreon, I think you have. You can see all these charts, can't you? That's another way it works. You can see all my charts all the time because you've got the link because you're on the right Patreon tier. I'm pretty sure that's right. Tell me if that's not right. It's supposed to be set up like that at the minute. So, I mean, you'll have all of this. And every other tick, innit? Ticker, chart. Nobody asked for this, so I can take my time. Shut up, spotter. Right, so, sorry, that was a joke just between me and Tradespotting. See, this is a really good tip. If you're following along with Rocky's coaching sessions and whatnot, and you're aware of the fact that, you know, your own worst enemy is yourself, and that version of you shadow boxes and runs marathons when you're asleep. It's always training for the moment that it can take you down. So if you're aware of that and you're following along with Rocky Outcrop's The Psychology of Trading session on Rocky Outcrop's channel, which is on YouTube when you search Rocky Outcrop, or you type in www.youtube.com/Rocky Outcrop, and you go there and you watch those videos, which you should do as they come out. I can't remember. I was making a point. It was dead interesting. It was fantastic. It was probably would have been in and of itself worth a show. Yeah, what was it? Somebody tell me. 22 slots 69. What a lovely price. I had a really good point there. Somebody remind me what it was. Thanks, Tradespotting. You're welcome. CPI tomorrow. It's already out according to Mass. Mass spectrometers ahead of the news. Mass spectrometers ahead of the news. Got it already. Hello, Mr. Azamat. Ticker bingo, ticker bingo. No, that was the song. It was after that. It was after that, but before this bit. In the middle, like a sandwich between there and then. A there and then sandwich. We can make sandwiches. You and me, dance floor sandwiches. Let's go. Right, so what we're looking at, yes, buy, breaking information, topside moves. Oh, they'd be lovely jubbly, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they? This isn't as interesting as the thing I forgot. There's $100 came in. Shut up and get out of town. That was 4 days ago. Bloody hell. Still. Wow, if only it was 4 days ago. Oh, that was that day. Oh, that was brilliant. That was a sploshing. Oh, if only for that. If it hadn't been for that. Thanks so much for that. There's another one. Only joking. Right. Hello, Mr. Hat Tradespotting. I think it was leaked. I don't have it. The dump before market close was sus. Oh, no. So, you mean you're saying you think it was leaked because there was a dump before market close? So this is fine. It closed 0.3. Post-market it's up 0.06. So, post-market's moved twice as much as the daily trading period. What dump are we talking about, Mass? Where is this information? Where is the informazione? Sarah would say, you know, when she's out there, in there, small rooms where she tells it with hammers and the half flat fingers. I remember that splitting. I remember. Right, so yeah, I remember. So you're looking at that 409 thinking it's at that resistance at the basis line that's got a little bit of divergence. It's falling out of the bullish control zone and maybe putting in a failure swing. And you're thinking this channel ain't going to hold. It's going to come back down, fill those gaps. And you'd be possibly right. You might be. Possibly might happen. 420 be the target if it breaks to the top side. Problem with SPY, right? Not problem for me, but the problem with SPY, I'll show you here. Those with the eagle eyes will be paying attention, and you'll have seen me show you this before. What do you like? Have you changed your website? You better know if your website only use it because it just did what it did and nothing else. See if you load something correct. Thank goodness. Whew. Right, and you won't be able to see it anyway because I don't have the screen wide enough for that on the thingy. Do I? Can you see it? If I highlight it, does this show up? No, it's off the screen there. You can see the total amount of open interest is 393,000 and the put amount is 228,000. So back of a handkerchief, napkin, handkerchief. Do people use handkerchiefs? Probably not in America. It's a very British thing. We do them with our tea. So if you do like the maths there, you can work out that's about 1.3858. I just did that in my head. What's about 1.3858 ratio of puts to calls? So that's very dangerous. It should be 0.7 to 0.5, right? That's where you want to keep it if you're trying to, push price down, be short and not get overly short and not be overly leveraged. It's the same point. So the way you would do that is not make it dead obvious. And so the people who are short and are caught in this particular period of time, they're in a liquidity trap because they've taken a counter trade at the bottom. They went short at the bottom because they were afraid price was going to break down because they didn't believe it would get to where it did. They weren't able to relinquish the long position, and the only protection of the long side is a bearish trade. So they opened a bearish trade because they were afraid of getting liquidated right at the bottom. And now price action is going to go up until they get liquidated because that's where the most liquidity is for the long period of time in the market. If it went down and then up again, they'd get all the liquidity that would be taken out of the market. Market makers need the liquidity. That's where they get their money from. A lot of people think market makers who drive the market get their money because they're operating in the background, providing the liquidity and making only profit from their margin of offset in every trade, i.e. they close every day out level with neither long or short. That's complete nonsense. That's complete nonsense. Not only is it complete nonsense, I've asked those people who do that job, who on Twitter about this time, about 18 months ago, the two people who do that job, asked them, have you ever ended a day in par? Neither of them ever had in their entire careers. So I think most people misunderstand what's going on with open interest. Anywho, so there's most people are short, right? And they have to close those positions. They want price action to close below 406. If it doesn't, they're all screwed. The closer it gets, loads of them will start closing those positions, especially if they opened them above here, because they'll be in the money. As soon as that contract itself's in the money, and they're not going to be holding it till Friday, and like, why would they be taking receipt of a short position on an option? Don't be silly. So like, they're going to be closing that and incentivized to close it, and they'll push the price up again, even if it did below. It's 403 is the next level of open interest. Beyond that, there's nothing. So the ratio is all here. It's all this week, and it's all going to close and push price up. And then the longs are incentivized to close above 4010, but not really that much, because 412 is just nearly like, this is an even spread. There's no discernible difference between these peaks. So this volume per strike price, pardon me when I get my breath back, there's no problem. Put call ratio 2.2 on Friday. 2.2 on Friday. What my date have I got? I've got today up. Well, that's my problem. That's my problem. Sorry, pardon me, my mistake. Fuck, it's fucked, right? It's 2.2. 412, 420. It's ridiculous, right? It's 420 again. Oh my God, I think I mean, I don't know, right? I mean, it's like they know what's coming and they don't do anything about it. You tell me, right? I mean, I've like years, they'll still not figured it out. Like, people say now, like, things like, oh, the aliens aren't going to come and speak to us because we're blowing each other up, or because we invented nuclear weapons, or because we haven't got one world order, or whatever agenda they're trying to push. And they're like, yo, that's why the aliens won't speak to us. And it isn't, right? The aliens won't speak to us because there's idiots. There's idiots trading. And they're like, if they're prepared to take that level of risk in that, with that lack of consideration, then they're in trouble, right? Because what that means is, very few people are exceptional. What that means is that you're probably trying to take advantage of the potential for increased return on short-term endeavors, which is exclusively a payoff with long-term commitment. So you see the same thing with companies themselves who do share buybacks as opposed to CapEx. Right, you see that a lot, which is why, you know, Apple, Amazon, that's the fight they're in together to be number one, is Apple share buyback, Amazon CapEx expenditure, increase future productivity, deliver long-term value for shareholders, right? I mean, a lot of people don't know this, right? So this is a different way that two different... Anywho, who cares, right? We'll talk about that some other time with memes about Bezos and, you know, pie charts with how rich he is and whatnot, and then I'll get likes based on that, and I can deliver the truth about economic fights that some of the titans in business are having right now, and they themselves know what's going on in these chess games, and chess is a stupid analogy for what it is. It's not. It's like a bloody, brutal, disastrous war. Every day, billions in it. Who gets like 69? Are we only still at number 69? We're only at 69! Open interest on 421 is even juicier. For 21, a lot to change between here and there. Like all these people, for example, getting wiped. Oh my goodness gracious me. Aye, they're ridiculous, right? But at this stage, you know, there could be a lot of different moves. This is where the liquidity lies, for sure. There'll be something in around here. But, you know, well, that's just next week, mate. Holy shit, Luke. That's just next week. Rage. Clip. Rage. It's like that movie, innit? Which the one with the Cillian. What's the guy, the movie called? The Raven, they got an Irish guy's eye, Sean. We all know each other. Irish people, we all know each other. Oh, lol, yeah, next week. Yeah, next week. Eh? Next week? Eh? Still though, next week, blooming heck, 385. I mean, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, it just brings me back to the same thought. Like, they're just ridiculous. And I hesitate to say they deserve what they're going to get, because when they get it, it'll be so cripplingly bad. Like, I hate using that word. It'll be so heavy and hard to deal with that. I mean, it's not just going to be the millions of dollars. It'll be the realization of their own naivety, like, and, you know, re-understanding and re-entry into understanding the value of money and whatnot. It's going to be hard for them. I feel terrible. You know, it's not me doing it. I mean, I suppose it is, but it's not. And like, not with any. I mean, it's you. It's your fault. See, we like it. So, so that was the point I was trying to make. So, what else? You tell me. What are we missing? I did a do SPY. I probably didn't. Do you want to see? So this is the basis line. Sure, it got a rejection, but then, you know, you look at an RSI. Price action has not collapsed at all. The RSI is way off the chart, falling down here. That's going to be bullishly divergent. Tradespotting, can I get your thoughts on UBS and their acquisition of Credit Suisse? You can. Switzerland, in particular, has been outside of most of the monetary alliances for a long time, and each of them want to get it. Like, here, look at this, right? You think that's not, that's right? Okay, so my thoughts are the government made them do it. They didn't want to. They wouldn't have done it otherwise, at which point, in order to make it possible, they had to write off the ATR11 bonds, which is like setting a precedent, which makes Switzerland less reliable and less positive in people's eyes that would have, you know, looked to manage their risk using various instruments that are available like those type of bonds and using those type of banks. Also, as to the existential risk, yeah, I think the fact that they made one bank save another bank is still the same systemic risk that we saw in 2008. It's not fixed. It's just saying, well, the bank keep bank now. And it's like, well, whoop-de-doop-de. That's going to mean that there's going to be 4 big banks that are too big to fail. The problem will be even bigger and more concentrated. And then every system is imperfect, and every system eventually leads to failure. And so there has to be renewal of these systems and processes that exceed that entropy, and there isn't. There's no imagination, intelligence, or I mean, we're looking around and everyone's a fucking idiot. So do I think there's a problem with UBS? Yes, I think they bought it. I think they were made to buy the problem, and I think the problem is also represented, if you see, with Deutsche Bank. They're a shite bank, and they've been shit for the best part of 20 years. Both of them. UBS are like slightly less so because of all the fraud, and that, like, they're a joke and they deserve what they're getting. It's probably going to come not in the near term horizon because, you know, they've got the bank term funding program and whatnot, and it's able to shift short-term liabilities to long-term liabilities. The Fed is taking the hit on that by providing the liquidity, i.e. the loan, to pay off the previous loan, and then, you know, facilitated by this different debt period, so that the repayments are different and therefore you can meet your obligations now. It's like a cash flow facility, and that's why it's called overdraft. If you borrow the money from the Fed during the day, you're using the daylight overdraft. That's like the technical term for it. If you use it at night, you're using the discount window. If you use the long-term bank term funding program, it's the bank term funding program. And if you use the seasonal credit facility for just a series of months, because that's when you'll get your invoices in due to the nature of your industry, then that's the one you use. And they've all got different interest rates. And the way it is, most of the debt is moving to the longer term instruments with a extended structure, which means the problem is kicked down the road, and that's all that's done. The maths explains that the problem is kicked down the road, it's not being solved. And do I think there's a problem? Yeah, I think UBS bought it, they paid through the nose for it, the thing was worth minus money, they had to pay money for it, that's ridiculous. They also had to make shareholders eat the value rather than the central bank that are responsible for the problems that arose. Those problems were really obvious because I posted about them on this show 9 months ago in a free video they all could have watched if they wanted to. I'm screaming about it. You know, how the comfortable government are going to screw you, and this is one of the ways, and this is one of the banks, and everybody knows I've been talking about Deutsche Bank for ages, and they're next. Do I think there's a problem with brokerages? Not really. I think there's a problem with people moving their money. I think that the long-term interest rates are obviously falling. I think Treasury bonds are going to start falling. I think that that'll be because obviously the Fed are going to reduce rates. They're going to have to because there is huge liquidity problems still. They haven't fixed it the way they've tried to. This is what happens with the economy. I've already showed you the charts. When you cut interest rates too soon, you screw it. Massive disaster disaster when it could have just been real hard pain for a number of years that was fixed with proper social programs and a reassessment of tax regime in various countries. But nobody wants to do it properly. Everybody's getting told. Nobody's productive. The older you get, the less productive you get. Everybody's angry. Everybody's upset. The older you get, the more control over the voting system you have. It's all stupid. It's all crap. And the only way you're ever going to get out of this is if you focus on yourself, you understand how unreasonable the world is, you get conviction in your actions, you might learn to manage your risk, and you take those risks, and you get the fuck out of this bucket. And it's a fucking tragedy that any of us are stuck here at all, because none of us deserved it, and none of this world was made to be this way. Fuck! That's the answer. Anyway, the better question is, what's going on with this? What the fuck is going on with this? Is a better question. Right, look at this. It's never been so bad. Are you Swedish? If you are, you'll know all about it. It's never been. This is what I mean. It got bad on this wiki here, but that's September. That's didn't actually happen, right? So this is the downward sloping chart. Look at the low previously. This is where you come into now. Things have never been as bad relative for a Swedish person since Sweden. You've not got the chart up, Tradespotting. There's the chart. Here's the low that's real. That wick, don't just ignore it. That's the low that's real. Here we are again at that low. If you're Swedish, which about there's the fourth highest demography from this channel is Swedish. So hi, all the Swedish people. Your relative value for being Swedish right now compared to everybody else in the world is at its absolute bottom. It's only once ever been so bad. It's a complete nadir. It's the worst possible moment to be Swedish since Sweden has existed on these charts, which only goes back to 2008, which was when it was equally worse, and before that it was actually quite a good strong currency. And things like that are going to keep happening. And that's the problem. That's what we're asking about. It's not UBS, right? I'll know that's an interesting question because that's what everyone's talking about, Nick. It was yourself, Nick, wasn't it? But actually, this is what people should be talking about. Absolutely screwing developed, advanced economies, getting rinsed. People in them getting destroyed. Their houses, there's a massive housing crisis. There's a massive property bubble. And then at the same time, they've got the highest level of satisfaction in their society. So you try to do one good thing, everything else falls apart because the rest of the world isn't on board with you. It's a let dog eat dog, bank eat bank world. And most people out there have got the self-interest that would alienate a shark. I understand that everybody is driven by self-interest, but if that's the only way it is, we're all fucked. You have to realize that our own self-interest is to survive, and if the oceans are going to be boiling in 400 years and carbon capture's already too late to save the day and the polar bears are screwed, none of them made your list. Let's be honest. Did the penguins get anywhere near the top 50? No. We all have to adjust our priorities. And what the fuck is going on? Well, I'll tell you what's going on. They're screwing us just like they screwed us before, and they'll do it ad infinitum in shorter and shorter increments. You know, you think you've got half a chance. There's not generation between each screwing now. That's why they want you to get 8 jobs. It used to be 1 house, 1 job. Now it's 8 houses, 8 jobs, 8 wives, 8 husbands. Yeah, and no kids. So, what's going on in Sweden? Well, by the dip. It's terrible. It's terrible, but it's Tuesday. And like I said, we're going to finish on a happy note. And that happy note is... how brilliant we are, and that we're aware of what's going on, right? We're aware of what's going on. I was going to pull up a chart and whatnot and be how brilliant it is and whatnot and stuff and whatnot, but it's just my brilliant face and yous all clicking the like button at the same time and everybody saying hello and being good to each other in the chat box, you know, because... awareness is the only thing that's going to make a difference, right? It's not about intelligence or creativity. It's about awareness, because the problems are obvious, the solutions even more so. It's about awareness at this stage. And that's like in a post-fact universe where everybody's full of shit. So come here, everybody knows your name, everybody knows you speak the truth. Thanks very much for watching. That's the good point, that we can rely on each other and we don't need anybody else. Though more viewers would be appreciated, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm going to try something new, so tune in for the interview series starting soon on Tradespotting. See you tomorrow. Watch Rocky. It's Rocky tomorrow. Rocky may have a show tomorrow. Oh my